Discounts are absolutely one of the worst, bar none, tactics you can use to grow your business. They devalue your brand, they make your unit economics take an absolute hit, and ultimately, they train your customers to push you around. Don't believe me? Or are you a salesperson who's just yelling expletives at the screen right now? Well, let's look at the actual data that indicates how discounts impact your business before giving you a framework that if you need to use discounts, you should absolutely follow to make sure you don't hurt your business more than you're actually trying to help. So first up, why do discounts actually exist? Well, the philosophy and the theory behind discounts is actually a very, very solid one. The idea is that you have a prospect who's not quite ready to purchase, so you want to offer up a discount to essentially get them over their activation energy into a purchasing environment to grab that particular purchase. Now, in retail environments, this works really, really well because what you can do is you can convince them that they're getting some sort of a good deal, or you can create some sort of sense of scarcity, where if they don't buy this item now, it's never going to be at this particular deal again. Now, what's interesting though is that when you go into the SaaS or the software or even subscription world, we don't really have scarcity. Software is unlimited. It's infinite. You can create more and more instances of your software given your particular cost than you can by creating a jacket or creating some other retail product. Now, from an analytical perspective, discounts can be absolutely detrimental to a software or a subscription company. We tracked two different groups. One group used minimal discounts, almost like they didn't even exist, and another group of companies used aggressive discounts, where discounts were clearly being used to basically meet their number. Now, out of these two groups, both met their quarterly goals, essentially getting to 100% of their goal. But as you can see on this chart here, the aggressive discount folks, they implemented discounts very, very accurately, almost 1 month before the quarter was about to end, and that's what really drove them to be able to hit their goals. But what's interesting is this doesn't necessarily tell the whole story, because if we're hitting our numbers, then everything's great, right? Well, the difference is that those aggressive discount customers actually had a drastically lower willingness to pay, had 3x the amount of churn in the first 3 months, and ultimately had one of the worst lifetime values compared to those minimal discount groups. Now, the reason that this is occurring is because those customers that came in through the aggressive discount companies basically weren't ready for the product. They essentially were buying because the discount was so high, not because they actually wanted to use the product. So the discount had to be so high to get them over that activation energy that they ended up not using the product, not seeing the value of the product, and ultimately not being retained into the long term. Basically, they were really, really bad customers. And as we've talked about in the past, sometimes it's better to go a little bit slower in order to make sure that customer truly sees the value rather than just going really, really quickly and just focusing so much on acquisition. Now, if you look at these particular companies, what you'll probably notice is that their sales teams really aren't doing much value selling. Their pricing probably isn't right, and ultimately they're not targeting the right customer personas, which we've talked about is absolutely crucial to making sure your unit economics are very, very tight, and the flywheel of your production and your growth is going rapidly and in really, really good directions. So is this to say that you should never discount? Well, not necessarily. Discounts can be an extremely useful tool, but you have to use them as a scalpel, not as a sledgehammer. And the way that you do that is through a few key steps. First, be discreet. Don't broadcast the discount across your homepage, across your pricing page, or blasting it out to your entire email list. This serves two purposes. One, it doesn't devalue your brand, but it also doesn't convince your current customers who are paying full price that you actually don't appreciate them because you're giving these other people a discounted price. Next up, make sure you segment. Not all customer personas are going to be ripe for a discount or are going to need a discount. Now, if you're selling to small businesses, medium businesses, and large businesses, the discount you probably need to go after is probably for those small businesses because they typically need a little bit more convincing, a little bit more relationship in order to get them across that line. Whereas those medium businesses and those large businesses, they're really focusing on value, and you should be able to extract the full price and the full value unless it's a big enterprise deal and they need a little bit of a sweetheart discount to get them over the line. Next up, make sure you limit the scope and the time. You should never be giving a lifetime discount of any sort. Meaning you should never say, oh, it's 10% off per month for life. Instead, remember, the purpose of the discount is to get them over that initial activation energy. In order to do that, you should really be only giving a 1 to 3 month discount, and then it should drop off after that because within that particular amount of time, they should see the value within your product and be able to pay you full price. Finally, make sure you vary your offers. If you give the same discount over and over again, you're going to start to change your prospects and train them in order to thinking, well, that discount's going to come around again. I don't necessarily need to act. Instead, if you vary things up, what they'll be trained to is, oh, this is a scarce discount. I need to go get it right away, or I'm going to miss out, and I can actually try this product now. Remember, discounts can be a very, very valuable tool if they're used in the right way. They're a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. But if you ever have any other questions about discounts or anything else related to SaaS pricing, contact me at patrick@priceintelligently.com because we're more than happy to help.